Akashvani presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold bilateral talks with his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese today. Prime Minister says he wants to take India-Australia relationship to the next level. Banks across the country to start accepting 2,000 rupee notes for exchange from today. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha to formally inaugurate G20 Tourism Working Group meeting in Srinagar today. IMD forecasts some respite from heatwave in northwest India in next 3 to 4 days. At least 19 children killed in a fire accident in a school in South America's Guyana. And in IPL cricket, defending champions Gujarat Titans to take on Chennai Super Kings in the first qualifier in Chennai this evening. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reached Sydney last night on the last leg of his three-nation tour. He will hold a bilateral meeting with his Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese today. Briefing media about the visit yesterday, Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra said the Australian Prime Minister will also host a dinner for Mr. Modi. He said the Prime Minister will call on Governor General David Hurley. Earlier today, the Prime Minister had a meet with leading CEOs. He will also address the Indian community. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today met with the Australian CEOs in Sydney today. In his first meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with Dr. Andrew Forrest, Executive Chairman and founder of Fortescue Metals Group and Fortescue Future Industries. MEAA spokesperson Arindam Bagchi in a tweet said that PM Modi and Dr. Andrew Forrest both have discussed opportunities for Indian companies to partner with Fortescue in the renewable energy sector, particularly under India's green hydrogen mission. Mr. Modi also held a conversation with Paul Schroeder, Chief Executive Australian Super. During the discussion, PM Modi pitched India among the top investment destinations in the world. He also invited Australian Super to partner in India's growth story. In his third meeting, Prime Minister met with Georgina Hope Reinhardt, AO, Executive Chairman of Hancock Prospecting Group, Roy Hill and S. Kidman and Company. PM Modi and Georgina Hope Reinhardt both have discussed on how to foster collaboration in the mining and mineral sector. The Prime Minister also invited her to partner with India in technology, investment and skilling in the mining and mineral sector. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that bilateral relationship between India and Australia is being nourished by the fast-growing Indian diaspora, which is serving as a living bridge between the two nations. In an interview with newspaper The Australian, Mr. Modi said that people-to-people contact is the strong pillar of the partnership between the two countries. The Prime Minister said he wants to take India's relationship with Australia to the next level. He said closer defence and security ties between the two nations will help ensure an open and free Indo-Pacific. Mr. Modi said he is not a person who gets satisfied easily, and he has seen that Prime Minister Albanese is the same. He expressed confidence that when he and Mr. Albanese are together again in Sydney, they will get the opportunity to explore how they can take the relations to the next level. Mr. Modi said they will identify new areas of complementariness and can expand the cooperation. Mr. Modi denied that the bilateral relations would be harmed by India's refusal to criticize Russia, as Australia has been highly critical of the country over its war with Ukraine. Mr. Modi said an advantage of being good friends is that they can discuss freely and appreciate each other's viewpoint. The Prime Minister said Australia understands India's position and it does not impact the bilateral relationship. He hoped his visit will allow both countries to identify new areas of cooperation, ranging from new technology, clean energy, critical minerals, building resilient supply chains, to movement of skilled professionals, among others. The banks across the country will start accepting 2,000 rupee notes for exchange from today. In a circular issued yesterday, the Reserve Bank of India has directed banks to maintain data on a daily basis on the amount of 2,000 rupee notes exchanged and the amount that has been deposited into accounts. The RBI said that the facility of exchange of 2,000 rupee bank notes across the counter shall be provided to the public in the usual manner. Earlier, RBI had announced to withdraw the 2,000 rupee note from circulation on the 19th of May. The 2,000 rupee notes were issued in 2016 after the central government announced the demonetization of old 500 rupee and 1,000 rupee currency notes. In Jammu and Kashmir, the main proceedings of the third Tourism Working Group meeting of the G20 will begin at Sher-e-Kashmir International Convention Centre in Srinagar this morning. Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, will formally inaugurate the event in a short while. Union Minister for Tourism and Culture, G. Kishan Reddy, Minister of State in the PMO, Dr. Jitendra Singh, India's G20 Sherpa, Amitabh Kant, and G20 Chief Coordinator, Harshvardhan Shringla, are expected to participate in the inaugural function. Our correspondent reports that the three-day meeting will hold deliberations on 5 priority areas such as green tourism, digitalization, skills, tourism, MSMEs and destinations.
After months of preparations, Srinagar city finally welcomed the delegates from around the world to participate in the third Tourism Working Group meeting. Nestled between the Zabarwan Hills and the Dal Lake, the venue, SKICC, is wearing a festive look and also presents a mesmerizing example of tourism potential of Jammu and Kashmir to the visiting delegates. On day 1 yesterday, the mega event saw participation of around 60 foreign delegates. At the start of the proceedings, the delegates explored various facets and the potential of film tourism for economic growth and cultural preservation. This was followed by an interaction of ministers, secretaries and G20 dignitaries with the media. After the inaugural session today, several brainstorming sessions on greening of the tourism sector, harnessing the power of digitalization, empowering the youth with skills, nurturing tourism, MSMEs and rethinking the strategic management of destinations will be held. With Ishfaq Shah, this is Zakir Nazir for Akashwani News from Srinagar.
The second meeting of the G20 Disaster Risk Reduction Working Group will begin in Mumbai today. The meeting aims to mitigate the impact of disasters on vulnerable communities by identifying opportunities and examining creative financing mechanisms. The three-day meeting will be attended by government officials, industry experts, private sector representatives and stakeholders from over 20 countries. Speaking to Akashwani News, Member Secretary of the National Disaster Management Authority, Kamal Kishore, spoke about the priority areas of the Disaster Risk Reduction Working Group meeting.
It will address 5 priorities that were discussed and agreed upon in the Gandhinagar meeting, which was the first meeting. The first priority is early warning for all. The second priority is resilient infrastructure. The third priority is national financing frameworks for disaster risk reduction. Fourth priority is looking at improved response systems, including building back better. And the fifth priority is ecosystem-based approaches to disaster risk reduction. We're expecting 120 delegates from all G20 members, guest countries, international organizations, and also a few private sector entities.
With G20 nations grappling with a growing number of disasters and climate change-related risks, amounting to an estimated annual average loss of $218 billion or 9% of average annual investment in infrastructure, the second meeting assumes great significance. Meanwhile, the third Environment and Climate Sustainability Working Group meeting will conclude in Mumbai today. The meeting mainly involved discussions on the draft ministerial communique with deliberations tuned towards achieving a consensus amongst the G20 countries. The first 2 meetings were held in Bengaluru and Gandhinagar. This is Akashwani giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. The reconstruction of the temple of Lord Ram in Ayodhya is going on at a fast pace. On August 5, 2020, Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone for the construction of the Ram temple, and since then, the construction work of the temple is going on. Last year, on the occasion of Dev Deepavali, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the construction site and saw the pace of the construction work of the temple.
Millions of Ram Bhakts across the world are eagerly waiting for the moment when they will be able to do darshan of Grand Ram Lala Temple at the Ram Janmabhoomi in Ayodhya. The reconstruction work of Grand Ram Temple is being done by the Shri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust, which was set up by the government to construct Ram Temple in Ayodhya at Ram Janmabhoomi. More than 70% of the construction has been wrapped up and the sanctum sanctorum of the temple is being built swiftly. Chairman of the trust, Nipen Mishra, has said that the construction work will be completed in 3 stages and the first stage will be complete by the end of this year, and after that the reconstructed temple will be open for the devotees and one can expect to see Ramlala in public in the temple.
ये मंदिर पूर्ण होगा 3 चरण। पहला चरण 30 दिसंबर 2023 जब भगवान गर्भगृह में स्थापित हो जाएंगे और यदि सब कुछ सही ढंग से अनुमान से चला तो श्रद्धालुओं को दर्शन करने की अनुमति यहाँ मिल जाएगी। तो वो जो आज वर्तमान में टेम्परेरी है वो से हटकर यहाँ। दूसरा चरण है 30 दिसंबर 2024 जब मंदिर का फर्स्ट और सेकंड फ्लोर भी पूरा हो जाएगा।
The work to place beams above ground floor pillars at Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Mandir has started. There will be a total of 392 pillars in the Ram Temple. After taking the opinion of experts, Sagwan wood from Ballarpur in Chandrapur district of Maharashtra has been chosen for making gates in Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Temple. There will be a total of 12 gates in the Ram Temple. According to the trust, the main entrance of the temple will be Sinha Dwar. Beautiful statues are being carved on stone based on stories from our Shastras. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, Akashvani News, Lucknow.
The India Meteorological Department, or IMD, has predicted that the temperature in northwest India is likely to reduce by 4 to 6 degrees Celsius during the next few days. It said that a fresh and active western disturbance is likely to move over northwest India till the 26th of this month. It will be accompanied by moisture supply from the Arabian Sea. Talking to AIR News, Director General of Meteorology, Dr. Mrityunjay Mahapatra said rainfall is expected at most places over northwest India tomorrow and the day after. In Guyana, at least 19 children were killed nearly 200 miles from the nation's capital, Georgetown, when fire broke out in the hilly interior town of Mahdia Secondary School. A spokeswoman for the National Fire Department confirmed the number of students perished in the fire were not correct. According to reports, the dead included 18 girls and a caretaker's son. The government has established full-scale medical emergency action plan with planes stocked with personnel and equipment to help local responders. Victims with critical injuries were transported to Georgetown in a matter of hours and others were admitted to Mahdia District Hospital. Guyana's President Irfan Ali called the blaze as tragic, painful and horrific. In IPL cricket, defending champions Gujarat Titans are all set to face Chennai Super Kings in the first qualifier at M.A. Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai today. The match will begin at 7:30 p.m. And now for a look at today's newspapers, it's over to Anita Anand.
Thank you, Anuja. India scaling up ties with Pacific Islands in the ongoing visit of the Prime Minister is the topmost topic covered by the dailies today. Announcing a slew of development initiatives, PM Modi says, "You can count on India," writes the Pioneer. The Tribune cites PM honoured with civilian awards. As the window for exchange of 2,000 rupee notes opens today, Hindustan Times quotes the RBI governor asking people not to panic. The paper adds banks told to prepare for footfall, ensure shade and water to drink. India to send marching contingents and jet to France for Bastille Day. PM guest of honour at military parade, reports the Economic Times. City records hottest day of the year at 43.7 degrees. 2 stations touch 46.2 degrees, notes the Times of India for Delhi. And finally, J&K hosting to G20 working group meet with 29 countries participating. It's a moment of rejuvenation and reincarnation for Jammu and Kashmir, writes the Indian Express. And with that, back to you, Anuja.
Thank you, Anita. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold bilateral talks with his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese today. Prime Minister says he wants to take India-Australia relationship to the next level. Banks across the country to start accepting 2,000 rupee notes for exchange from today. Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha to formally inaugurate G20 Tourism Working Group meeting in Srinagar today. IMD forecasts some respite from heatwave in northwest India in next 3 to 4 days. At least 19 children killed in a fire accident in a school in South America's Guyana. And in IPL cricket, defending champions Gujarat Titans to take on Chennai Super Kings. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.